Hello, I'm a healthy young adult living in New York. Currently, I'm a freshman in college, but I've taken a semester off. During this break, I worked part-time at a local bar. I was diligently working there when I unexpectedly ran into my elementary school teacher, leading to an unimaginable turn of events. I'm studying culinary arts with the goal of working for a major corporation in the future. I dream of developing my own menu and obtaining a trademark for it. To brag a little, I'm 178 centimeters tall and lean. Until high school, I used to eat whatever my mom cooked, which led me to nearly reach 90 kilograms. However, I lost weight after going to college, which defined my jawline and improved my skin's elasticity. Some of my peers were so surprised by my transformation that they asked me for diet tips. Initially, it was tough to resist my favorite foods, but by reducing carbohydrates like snacks and flour, I successfully lost weight. I'm currently working at a nearby bar. My parents, who run a small business, insisted I take a break from working, especially in a challenging environment like serving at a bar. But I knew my father's business wasn't doing well. Their revenue has decreased, forcing them to lay off long-time employees and work by themselves. They only take one day off a week, which seems incredibly hard on them. My mom even knits scarves in her spare time at the business place and sells them. They're much better quality than what you find in cheap stores. She orders acrylic yarn in bulk and knits them, even while catching up with acquaintances over the phone. They love her scarves, starting with gifts before moving on to selling them. Sometimes, she even sells them on local mom cafes online. I try to help by cooking various dishes at home, which they greatly appreciate. I learned cooking by watching numerous YouTube cooking channels. Knowing how hard my parents worked to support my education, I couldn't ignore their struggles. I live in a neighborhood with a high population density, thanks to newly constructed apartment complexes. The bar where I work recently opened in one of these apartment complexes. It's popular because of its clean facilities, convenient restrooms, affordable and tasty snacks, and it's almost always full. The bar opens at 5 p.m. and a bit earlier on weekends. Although I'm supposed to serve, I sometimes help in the kitchen when it's busy. I'm proud to have saved enough money for next semester's tuition from my earnings. But you know, there's a charm to it. I've found the joy of saving money so rewarding that I started depositing into a savings account rather than spending it. I'm hooked on checking my savings grow through the bank's app every day. The brewpub I work at is part of a chain, so while we have a lot of ready-to-eat bar snacks, we also prepare many dishes ourselves. Every day of serving, you see all kinds of people. Since our place is in a neighborhood area, it tends to attract more middle-aged men and women. Not many young folks come in. After working at the brewpub for a few months, I've seen all sorts of customers. There are those who come in late in the evening, a man and a woman, not looking like a couple, but talking about their kids with a certain spark in their eyes. It seems there's quite a few affairs happening. Sometimes, customers from different tables end up joining each other. I once saw a group of attractive middle-aged women chatting and drinking, and the gentleman from the opposite table ended up joining them. The dim lights and alcohol seem to spark curiosity in people. Although I don't quite understand it, working at the brewpub at a young age has allowed me to witness a lot. Of course, there are those who, feeling good from the drinks, decide to continue the party at a karaoke bar. Working here has made me detest alcohol. Oh, I wish people knew their limits. Sometimes people overdo it and end up vomiting, and I'm the one cleaning up the mess. Every time it happens, I think about quitting, but then I remember my parents and can't bring myself to do it. Thankfully, I have the stamina and perseverance to keep going. Embarrassingly enough, there are women who come in just to see me. It seems our brewpub got mentioned on a mom's community website. Brewpubs often hire young and tall part-timers. Someone posted about a good-looking staff member at our place. And since then, we've had a lot of middle-aged women visiting. They come out in the evening and stay until late, which has me worried about their family life. They drink heavily until closing time. Some customers even leave me tips for my hard work. The older gentlemen often ask me my age, if I'm in school, and commend me for working hard. Those days, even the boss is in a good mood. I arrive at the pub an hour before opening to clean and check the ingredients. When regulars come in, the boss sometimes makes them special snacks, which is why our place is doing quite well. There's hardly any time to sit down. My feet are sweating from all the serving, and I help with the dishes and tidying up after closing. I get home after midnight, take a shower, use a massager on my swollen legs, and then go to sleep. I wake up late in the morning, prepare some food, and do some house chores that my mom couldn't get to. Something special happened a few weekends ago. It was Sunday, and I saw a familiar face. It was my 5th grade homeroom teacher, sitting with a woman. They seemed to have a lot to talk about, ordering snacks twice. When the teacher's acquaintance went to the restroom, I approached their table. "Are you Emily? I was in your class 10 years ago," I greeted her. "Oh my, could it be Thomas?" She recognized me immediately. She was so happy to see me, asking me to sit and catch up. The Thomas who always excelled in writing and consistently won first place in art competitions. "How could I forget?" she exclaimed joyfully. I asked for her phone number, and upon saving it, I noticed a wedding photo. "When did you get married?" I inquired. "It's been 2 years," she replied. When I asked if she had any children, a friend she was with joked, "This one's living the single life, always saying how lonely it is, and spends time dining out with friends before heading home alone." I didn't know what to say and just looked at Emily, who then shared, "Well, my husband has been on an overseas assignment for a year now, with 3 more to go. We had a blissful first year of marriage before he had to leave. I told him to go, and that I'd be fine continuing my teaching career here, but we make it a point to meet up in the country. He's enduring my school breaks." Emily had started her teaching career at the school right after graduating from college, which places her in her mid-30s now. She was very innocent back then, but left a lasting impression due to her warm interactions with every student. I had missed her, but felt too shy to reach out. It was even more delightful to learn she lives across from my apartment building. After reuniting, she visited our shop a few times with other acquaintances. Then one day, she suggested we meet for a meal. I was free on Mondays since my pub is closed, so we agreed to meet then. I went to her school around 4:30 p.m., the end of the school day, and borrowed my dad's car for the occasion. She mentioned a favorite barbecue place they often visited for staff dinners. We ended up dining there and lost track of time chatting away. She mentioned how she enjoys the bustling life at school, but feels incredibly lonely at home since there's no one to talk to. She invited me to her place for a casual drink. and I was curious to see how she was living. We stopped by a supermarket to pick up some drinks, snacks, and even toilet paper before heading to her apartment. Her place was charmingly decorated, reminiscent of a newlywed's home. We spent the evening catching up on friends and family, completely losing track of time. Then, with a serious look, she said, "Thomas, I've been feeling so lonely lately that I'm having trouble sleeping. Can you stay until I fall asleep?" I was too shocked to respond. After a moment, she went to change into a comfortable dress, still treating me with the same ease, as if I were still a child. I realized the teacher's intention and felt a deep connection with them. After returning from a 3-month trip to my husband's country, I felt incredibly lonely. So meeting up with a former student, who's now an adult, felt wonderful. We agreed to see each other more often. I've been spending quality time with my teacher frequently. The teacher would warn me about potentially risky days when we might be recognized by parents. And on such days, we'd either visit local eateries or travel to a nearby city for some shopping. We've even hit the nightclubs together, dancing the night away. Normally, the teacher would have coffee after work or head home early after dinner, but our dates have reduced the number of meals shared, with colleagues sparking their curiosity about what's been happening. Some joke about whether a new romance has blossomed, and the teacher, ever so innocent, can't even respond, just laughs it off, saying, "Sure, meet whoever you want when your spouse isn't around." My frequent meetings with the teacher have made our relationship much more comfortable than when we first met. Despite the decade of age difference between us, we get along incredibly well, which isn't something you find every day. Even on the eve of visiting my master, we were together,